which means if you're not asking any question or any clarification, you'll mute, such that we don't get feedback in the recording. Okay, I'll be forced to mute some people, then we can start. The moment you have any query you want to raise, please, you can always unmute and talk to us. Okay, I was saying today is our third session. We have had the two basic sessions. They were somehow lengthy. I wanted you guys to keep engaging me, asking me questions related to what we had gone through. And the recordings I shared, you're supposed to review those videos. In any case, if you meet anything that you didn't understand, you can always engage us on WhatsApp. Anyone can answer. Any person who understood can give in a feedback the moment you raise a query. So today we are going to look at charts. Basically, we are going to target charts. I know we have all dealt with data at some point, and always there is a requirement of reporting. So now that's the question we're asking ourselves. If it is required for us to report, how do we do that? So the reporting in Excel, mostly we use visuals. That is, maybe I can call it data visualization, putting something in a pictorial format. Like we're going to look at some of the examples. I will be slow. The moment you feel like you can't handle my speed, please. Someone told me last time that I'm too quick, but I'll try to be slow so that we are all on the same pace. I think I'll mute Maurice. Then even Patrick, you can mute, such that we don't get feedback noise from your side. Okay. So we have many types of charts, as we are going to see today. And I'm requesting, if you have anything like a paper pen, you can write down such that you don't miss out any point. We are going to go through one chart by one. We may not finish everything today, but be rest assured at least you'll pick something from the many charts we have. Then another thing, the purpose of this session is to know, when you're having your data, which type of chart am I supposed to use? Actually, that is the most important part for this session. You may have all what it needs. You have the data, you have the Excel, you can pick any chart. But at the end of the day, the question is, the chart you have picked, is it the right suit for the data you're having? Not every chart can report any data. So that's what we have to know from today, that different charts are used for different types or categories of data. We are going to go through that slowly by slowly. I will also need you to unmute and give me feedback, whether there is anything you need me to explain extensively. Okay. Now, just leave away what you're seeing here. I'm going to open a tab for charts. Where do we find charts? Charts, we find them, your Excel will always be at home page. So where we find charts, it is always in the insert tab. So you go in the insert tab, then under the category of charts, or I can call it the subdivision of charts in your ribbon for insert. That's where you'll always find all the chart types. So it's where you have to select exactly the chart you want to insert to report your data. Now I'm going to click on this row, that is this arrow, that is see all charts. So when you click there, it will open all the charts. But the first thing it opens the recommended first. Recommended means that Excel has looked at your data and is giving you the first options of charts you can use, which can best suit your data. But for you, you can go ahead and say, no, for me, I want to choose for myself. So these are the many charts we have. So when if you are using Excel 2016, you should be having the same interface I'm having. Or if you are using Microsoft 365, you should be having this. That's the version of Excel. But even the other people using 2013, I know you should be having most of these, though your interface may differ from ours. Now, the first always is a column. These are column charts. Anything you see in this format, it will always be column charts. I will select here data such that we can easily pick out what we are talking about. I will select like data for a few. Maybe I can copy this and have it on another sheet such that it doesn't confuse us. So I'm having this data here. I can remove the totals. Last time we saw how we can do the summation. Now, you have this data, you want to put it on a chart. What you do, you select your data. Then the moment you go to charts and click on the charts, it will tell you that you can't create a chart before you select the data. So always you have to select your data first, then you go to choose the type of chart you want. So that's why it is giving us this error. So when I select my data, which is this, then I go to insert, then look for charts, then you go to the down arrow, which is giving you an expansion of see all charts. So the moment I open it, the first thing you'll see, those are the recommended charts. Excel recommends for you, like it helps you to choose. Like you may need these ones for the start. So there are these, but I'm going first to skip this such that we go to the details. This side we look through one by one. Now, what you're seeing here, this one is their column charts. These ones are used to present data on bars, which we call columns. Because they are vertical, that's why we call columns. These ones are different from these. These are called bar charts. Then the other ones are called column charts. I think now you get a difference between the two. People don't know always the difference between bar and column, but all is the same. What they do is the same. The only thing is the other ones are vertical and the bar charts are horizontal. So you can always choose, you see which suits your data best. So then we have, anyway, on column, we have also many categories. We have the column chart, which is we call clustered, where you'll find that they cluster themselves. You see, like January is clustered the first with blue, which is representing domestic, red representing Europe, green representing Asia, and purple representing Latin America. The same thing you go to Feb. Maybe I can click on this and insert it, then we look at it. So when you look at this chart, this one is called a clustered column. It represents all, you see, every time I click like on blue, it will show me the data I'm picking. You see, it automatically tells me that when you click on blue, you have picked the months which are in blue, and you have picked the data. These ones may be sales per month. So by month, which is the x-axis or the horizontal axis. When you click on red, you'll see it will shift to Europe. When you click on green, it will shift to Asia, meaning that the whole of green is Asia. When you click on purple, it will select for us Latin America. It means the whole of purple is Latin America. So here, if they asked you now that which one does either the most sales maybe every month, you can easily tell that in this month, in January, green was topping and green is Asia. In Feb, blue was topping and blue is domestic. Without even going to the numbers, I can tell that in Feb, domestic was having 130 and followed by Asia. But the graph just gives you the direct picture that, you know what, in Feb, blue was highest. You go to March, blue was highest, like that going forward. So that's now how easily you can interpret the other data that we had in the tables, because we have already put it in a pictorial graph or a chart. Human easily understands a picture and numbers. I know even you, when you're walking or you're on the street, the moment you see a poster that has many pictures that explain what they are doing, you easily understand when you look at the pictures than if you found a poster having only wordings where you have to stop and read first. So which means that when you are sending someone a report of these numbers, this person will have to sit, even put on their glasses to make sure that they understand every bit of number from one column to the other. By the day or the moment you send a chart, this chart is very clear. Even a young toddler will come and tell you that in June, the highest was blue, which is very clear. But someone may not tell you that what was in the highest in June. They will first look at all numbers, 180, 100, 130, 80. Then they start computing in their head, which one is greater? Yeah, 180 is greater. Then they go back to look for what was 180, it was domestic. So from today when we are doing reports, someone who has sent a report of a graph like this, I'm not saying that all reports have always to be graphs or charts, is more better and more suited to present this one even in a meeting than person who is going to present numbers. You can hardly convince people here that domestic always does well than the other continents. But when you come to the graph, everyone is just seeing that blue is always the highest. Blue has the highest numbers and purple is always the lowest. And that is very simple. When you come here to the legend, actually in charts, we call this one a legend. That is Legend. So what we used to call a key in geography, here we call it a legend. Then these are the bars which are picking the data from the other side, we call them series. Then where we are seeing the months, that is always our horizontal axis. Then these numbers we are having from our chart, those are that we call it a vertical axis. The lines you see here, these ones, we call them grid lines. Grid lines help us to clearly read the data and coordinate it with the axis. So when I look at this blue, I automatically tell that it is 140 because I'm looking at the grid line, which is running to 140. And going forward even that way. I will show you how we add even other grids. Then what you see here is a chart title, which you can always double click and delete and put your own. Like I can put here sales per month or per continent. So that is a title. I've shown you that these bars you're seeing, every bar represents a series. A series is the items we are having, the categories. So you'll find that in the series we have Asia and we also have the number. So that is maybe the value. So the value for Asia in January is 110. Which one is which is this in green? Because they've already shown us here that Asia is in green, Europe is in red, domestic in blue, and Latin America in purple. Then when you click again on your chart, there are always two parts we have. Let me click outside, click again. So when you click in your chart, you see there is that inner rectangle you're seeing first. The inner rectangle, we call it a plot area. You see when I pass my mouse and stop it, it brings that notification plot area, this one. Then when I move the cursor in the outside rectangle, it calls it a chart area. So you should differentiate that too. There is a chart area and there is a plot area. And a plot area is always smaller than a chart area. So you can enlarge a chart area, it will always enlarge with the plot area, but you can reduce a plot area and the chart area remains. So you see that you can reduce your chart, your plot, where your plot is occurring, but the chart area remains with white space. Maybe there are some other notes you want to put aside here. You'll see how we do that. Or you can even move the legend and put it on the left like this and just have it like that. But there are options of doing that automatically. So that's now the difference between a chart area and a plot area. But always our target is to make sure that a plot area is larger enough and visible enough to the recipients. So you can always make it visible enough such that everyone who is being represented to can always look at what you're sharing with them. Now, before we go on other charts, I want to first explain to you the different types of, the different parts of a chart or a graph, you can call it. Now, when you click on your chart, on the chart area at the corner, the result is a plus. That plus is called, it's where we find all the chart elements. So if you want to activate something, add or remove, change the chart elements, you do it from here. So when I click here and I say I'm removing axes, you see all the axes are going to disappear, both horizontal and vertical. The moment I activate them, they all come back. Now, when you proceed to the arrow here, there is now primary horizontal and primary vertical, which means if I don't want the numbers, that is the vertical, which means I can always come on primary vertical and deactivate it, and it will disappear. Then I remain with only the horizontal. That's one option how you can beautify your chart. You may not need the other numbers. As I'm going to show you, we are going to enable data labels, and you will find that you no longer need the axis. Okay, when we leave that first part of the element, we go to the axis titles. Now, the axis titles, the moment I activate it, there is a title here, which means you can put something here to tell us what that means. Which means since I don't have the titles, I will double click on this and put here months. So when you double click on that, I will put here that these are months. Then you double click on this, which you see, I can reduce the chart up to there. So when you double click on the chart title, the one which is on the vertical, I will put that these are, let's call them cells. So, which means now, someone who is reading your graph already knows that at the horizontal, these are months, then at the vertical, those are sales numbers, which means if I'm looking for 140, then I will say, what exceeded 140, it is this. Then you'll say, oh, domestic in the month of June sold more than 140. I've already interpreted the graph. Then also another thing, don't mind on this option that is coming at the left. I will talk about that later. I will cancel it for now. So another chart element we have is the chart title. You can always activate and deactivate. The moment you deactivate, what you had put before disappears, which means it comes back as chart title, where you'll have to, again, double click there, delete everything that is there, then you put now the new title you want. Here I can say sales versus, or I can say sales per month. The year 2022. So this is already my graph, which is showing sales per month, the year 2022. You can go ahead, even beautify this by giving it colors. This is where you find the colors. You can change the font color, you can change the background color, but for now, let's focus on the measures. I know you can all do those formattings. We did them last time. So, still on the chart elements, we have data labels. What are the data labels? Data labels, when you click on data labels, you'll see that every bar will be given its value as how it stands in the table. Now, if I'm going to share this graph without the table to show the numbers, it means that it becomes easier for people to interpret when I have enabled the data labels. So you see, when you enable the data labels, they are all already on top. So someone can look at this bar and know that this was 90. Someone looks at this and know this is 60. That's what I told you the other time, that now you can go ahead and remove the axis on the vertical because I no longer need it. So when you remove it, sorry, this was the axis title. We can go ahead and remove the axis like this, the vertical. Because I already have numbers here, I no longer need the numbers on maybe the axis. It is up to you. You can leave them or get rid of them. Then someone else may say, no, you know what? I don't need these grid lines because they no longer help me because I've removed the vertical axis. So still you can go ahead and click on grid lines off, they will go away. So all these, it is up to you how you customize it. So you can go ahead and have the grid lines even and add more. You know, we have primary and we have minor. We have major and minor. So if I add minor, you see they become more grid lines. If I have graphs which are very many and I will need maybe to look even at the minor numbers. Then if you want the vertical ones, you can also have them. You see, we are having now the vertical ones. You can even go ahead and have the vertical minors. Then here it becomes like a graph paper, like you people, you should have known, seen a graph paper we used to use in schools. So because we have activated all the grid lines, both main and majors, and here sometimes it becomes easy for you to read when you have grid lines, then you leave them there. Okay, now proceeding with other elements, they are data labels, sorry, data tables. If I'm going to share this chart, but I don't want to share the other table, but I want that table to go with the chart, what do? You come on the chart elements and then you say add data tables. So the moment I click data tables, you'll see that every month is having its own numbers and its own rows. You see the way how the other table is? It is exactly the same way how this table is. Domestic 180, 130. You see 180, 130 for Feb. For May, it is having 140. Here it is having 140 here. So the moment I share with you this graph, you are not going to ask me what was the value of this in this month because I have already included for you the data table. So you can, if you say that you don't need it, you can always go ahead and uncheck it off. You can go ahead and uncheck the data labels off. Let's put again the axis, the vertical axis. By just ticking again, it will again appear. Now, there are legends. Then there is what we call error bars. When you are dealing with data that is sampled, that you have done approximations, where you are not sure of the exact number, like they may ask me, the people you have online, what are their age ranges? I may approximate so and so may be 34, but I'm not sure that it's 34. But what I know that that person was born maybe in a year which should be giving me 34 in 2022. What does it mean? That either this person has already fulfilled to 34 years in Jan and Feb because today is March, or that person hasn't made 34 years because he's making them in June or August or October or November. So it means that I will put an error bar, which error bar gives you a minus. You see it is in and out. So when I take the averages of the numbers maybe I have, it means that I'm telling the person who is reading this graph, by the way, you can consider the highest because it was an approximation, or you can consider the lowest because I took the average of the data I'm using. So mostly we use the error bars when we are doing approximations, but when you're dealing with exact figures, you don't need the error bars. Then the grid lines, I've already shown you the grid lines. We have already activated them, but we can always deactivate the minors because we don't need them. You can leave the vertical, but always people don't always use the vertical because there is nothing that you critically reading for the vertical, but for the horizontal, we activate it because we have those numbers, we want to correlate them with the bars. Okay, we move forward. Please ask a question when you feel like you need. You unmute and ask, you're very free. You can even post it in the chat, I'll read it. Then the legends, when I deactivate, they go off. When I activate it, I think you can't see them because we had increased our chat. We had increased our plot area. So these are the labels. At the moment, we say that these labels are on the right. So when we come to elements and we come to the legends, and you go to the options, there is always right, there is bottom. So the top, you see they are going at the top, there is left, they go at the left, there is bottom, they go at the bottom, there is other options where you can choose what to present and what not to present. So other options, you'll see that it gives you this dialog box on the left, of which we shall use it more in the extension of what you have been seeing here. You can also find this side of on the left, where you find the chat options, you find chat title. We have seen all this. But easily, without coming this side, you can always quickly find them at the chat plot area. So at the chat area, we call it the chat area. This is the plot area. Then the last thing is the trend. So when I activate the trend, they will ask me, you want to activate which trend? Let me activate the trend for domestic. I'll say domestic, then okay. You see, it puts a line showing that domestic has been on an increase from the first month, Jan, to the last month computed here, June. That's why you see that trend is upwards. Now let's go back on the trend. There are other options. You can use linear, which we are seeing here. You can go for exponential. You can look at how exponential looks like. They are two activated. Okay. Let's go for exponential, domestic. That's how exponential looks like. It is not straight, but trying to figure out the trend. Then you can go for forecast. I don't know whether you people, you know forecast. Forecasting is like this. If you have been selling, you sold 20 quantity in Jan, you sold 30 in Feb, you sold 40 in March. So your increment was by 10 every month. It means that I can forecast what I'm going to sell in July, even if I don't have July here. Because if this is 80 and I know every month I increase by 10, then here it will be 90. Then the next month it will be 100. So that's what we call forecasting. So the moment you put a trend of forecasting, that trend will show you that blue is still increasing. Then you'll see other trends. We can deactivate those trends. Then let's activate the trend for forecast of what is in purple, Latin America. So when I do okay, you see Latin America has also been increasing, but at a slower pace than the others have been doing. Okay, I think that is it. That is, you can compare from there the trends, just using the either linear or exponential or linear forecasting. Then there is also having a trend using the 2-period moving average. So if I say Europe, and it only moves into just between the two only, it chooses the two randomly and uses those averages. So I'll have to deactivate that trend because it is not more purpose now. Okay, so we have gone through all the chart elements. Now, the next thing I'm going to is the chart styles. Chart styles, you have a chart like this, which is already a column chart. So there is this chart style, there is this one, you see how it looks like. You change that the way how it looks like. There is this, you see how the bars are being styled up in that way. When you move down, there is this that gives us a background that is black and gives us the bars beautified in that reflective surface. There is this that starts with faint, then it goes on becoming thick. So there are many, many styles you can get from there. So we get this from here. Then you can also choose the colors. You see, when you choose that we're using this type of colors, when I click here, the colors will change accordingly. When I click here, the colors, you see the colors change. When you click here, the colors change. So there are many colors here you can use. So if you're dealing with one thing where you will want to see which one is low, which one is thick, you see, you can use a single color to show that this one was higher, this one was next, like that. But this one is too confusing. So you can always use the colorful theme such that every series has its own color. So that is on styling. Now, when we come here, this one is on filtering out. If I'm sending this report and my boss tells me, by the way, remove June, we haven't reconciled June. We want to report this to the group or to the admin or management, and they tell you, okay, you have that up to June, it's okay, but we need Jan up to Feb. How am I going to remove June? Am I going to come this side? Sorry. Am I going to, sorry, okay. I want to move this chart. Are you going to come on your data and delete the whole data of June? No, you're not supposed to do that. Already, Excel has taken that one in consideration. When you come here on filter, when you click on filter, the filter may appear on whichever side. So the series, I will say I don't want to see June. And June will, when I apply, June goes off and you remain with only January, February, March, April, and May. And if they said, you know what, we don't want to report quantities from maybe this depot, then they say, domestic, remove it. Sales from domestic, remove them. I'll come and check off domestic, then I apply, which means I'll remain with Europe. When you look at the legend here, it is Europe, Asia, and Latin America. So I have filtered out the others, even though they are part of my data. You can choose what to present to your team. So you choose what to present using the filter. So I can bring them this, I can bring them back by selecting, checking them, and apply. Now, when you are moving a cursor, you see it spotlights out what you have hovered on. This one, you can use this technique like in when you, let's say, when you're presenting through Excel, you're presenting directly from Excel, and there are many bars, and you want people to focus on one month. So when you move your cursor to March, you see March is spotlights out, others stay in gray color or inactivated. Or when you want to look at Asia, you just hover your cursor at Asia and others just stay in the background, but Asia is spotted out. You see, you can do the same on other countries like that. So that is it, guys, for the options we have on charts. I've explained all these. The chart elements, I've explained the styles, I've explained the value, the filters we use. So filters, you can filter by value, you can filter by names. So it is upon you. So if there is no any other question, I'm going to go on another part of this session. I don't know whether Jovan is on. I think someone can get for me the attendance. Maybe today I nominate you, Tembo. Just have the attendance written down, then you'll share on the WhatsApp group for follow-up. For those ones who don't attend, maybe we know what could be the challenges. Okay. Now, That is it for the column charts. We have many charts. You see, we have been only looking at one chart, but my goal was looking at all the chart options, and we know now what it means with all the chart options. Now, we'll need you to start practicing this. I'm going to send you data, or you can create yourself data. Create the many charts you can create, send to me and ask me how best you have done them. I need you to start practicing that way. Get any data, get the data you have been dealing with, like every month. Have, let's say you can use sales, you can use quantities, you can use anything. Have options here, like those people at the depot, you can have the different sites you supply to, have the numbers, try to create charts. Practice makes perfect. The moment you don't practice, you have forgotten immediately after the session. So it will be 1 week, 2 months, and you will not remember anything you have done. The only option, we are recording this and I will put it on YouTube for you to review at any point you feel like you need to access. Then someone else may ask me that, if I've already created a column chart, how can I change this chart and convert it to another type of chart? Yeah, there is an option of converting. When you select your chart, you'll always have these options of chart design and format. The moment I select out, those two tabs disappear. The moment I select back again my chart, they again reappear. It means that I can only use these two tabs when my chart is selected. So when I select here chart design, you see all those designs I've already shown you. You can change any of the design you want. You see all those. You can change any, the one you feel that it looks professional for your reporting. And with visualization, we don't look at the design you have done. We look at the concept we pick from the chart. Are people going to understand what you're trying to tell them? Or they will look at the beautiful colors and end there and they don't understand exactly what you are reporting. So we first focus on the concept. Then after that, you look at how best can I attract someone to look at my graph for more than 5 minutes studying it. Do you know that someone creates a chart and you look there once and remove your eyes because it is having either shabby colors or the design was just there nullified. So you end up not even understanding the context that is being reported. So after looking at the context, what are you reporting? Then you can go ahead and beautify it to make it attractive to the recipients. Then the formats, here we have many formats also. You can go there like changing color shapes. You see, you can change those color shapes the way how you feel like, yes, I like this color, or our business or our company uses green, then the charts I have to produce, they have to be in green. So there you can change the shape fill. You can change here the outline, that is the border of the chart. You can even change the shapes, you get. So you can have such shapes changed, like the shadows. You see the chart is having a shadow somewhere. So you can go ahead and change all that. Then also you can come on the shape styles and pick the default ones like this, you see. So there are those default already pre-created, so you can click on them and you have a chart like this and share with your team. But not to make it that we need designing, we don't have to use a lot of colors which are going to chase away people from understanding our graph. There are colors which when you look at them for a long time, you feel like you start oozing tears. So that's why you have to use colors which are so much professional that your chart can be read and understood. So I'll go back to the default. If this is the default, I don't remember, but we can go with that. Then how do we change the chart type? When you go back to insert and you have to select another chart type, it will have to change. So if I have selected this and I say, okay, it has changed automatically. You see now that this month, these things are still filtered out. We can go ahead, we can again retrieve them back. Remember, we had filtered out domestic and June. We didn't apply. So when you apply, that's when. So you see, you can create a chart in this format. Very simple. It is not so clustered like the other one. And when you come to that chart, you find that chart. Sorry. When you come to that chart, this one is called a stacked column. So there are two ways how you can stack. You can stack by month and put the continents down, or you can stack by continents and put the months down in the axis. So those are the two options. There is another stacking which goes up to 100%, but you see which one is higher and which one is lower. There is this one which is in 3D, and I discourage you from using 3D charts. Let's say if you click on this, you see 3D charts, they are good in design, but it doesn't pick exactly what you're trying to communicate to your recipients. People will get confused. Is this one presenting 100, 200 or something like that because of that design thing with the 3D stuff? So I don't recommend you using 3D. So all these are 3D, which now you can imagine if you have a chart like this. And I told you, find for me what Asia sold in June. You'll start figuring out this is Asia, this is June, and the other one is the bar behind. You start figuring out how much is this. You follow this to get 120. Then it was 180 something. So you find that it doesn't give you the perspective exactly of what we are looking for. So I discourage you from using 3D, but it is there in Excel. So us not using it doesn't mean that Excel didn't include it, but it is not good to use because it loses meaning. Now, when we go to bar, I'm first skipping others, we go to bar because it is nearly the same as what we have been doing. So when you go to bar, like what we have started with, you see it is the same as this. But this one is in a horizontal, the other one was in a vertical mode. So there are many ways also bar has stacked. It also has 100% stacked and the 3Ds. So that is it. Now, for the data we are having, you can easily present this data in bar charts or column charts. Then you can also have a line chart. So you see a line chart, there are many ways now, like if I pick out this. But now, this is what I was telling you, not every graph communicates what you're trying to report. Now, it becomes difficult here for someone to read which country was higher than which continent was higher than the other in a certain month. So that's why you find that such a data is good to be communicated as in a graph, bar chart or column chart. Now I'm going to duplicate this, then I'm going to have this data duplicated. Like if I want to communicate only the dynamics of domestic, let's say I will copy domestic, put it here. Now when domestic is 1, and I want to see the trend from January to June, then it becomes easy for me to select this and select a line chart. Actually, even if you don't go to this option, you can always come here, you'll find them here. So you can always select this chart, and now here it communicates better. It tells me that with domestic in January we are low, we went on increasing in Feb, we somehow slanted downwards, we again increased by June, we're at 180. It becomes easy. Even this one, you can go ahead and do all the other bits we did, putting the data labels, putting the table. You know that you can even put the up and down bars. We'll show you how we put them. You come here, you put the up and down lines like this, those ones. Like it shows, it drops down. So there are those options, you can do them and beautify it the more. So the moment I right click on this, you can even change the color of the outline. You can change this color to another color like green, like this. So you can go ahead and do the other settings, but you see that a line becomes more readable when it is communicating like few data than how it was communicating here. So this one is difficult to read than this. So exactly that's why I told you that not every graph communicates your information the same way. So removing this now, if I change this to bars, let's try to change this to bars. When we go back to insert and say, let's change this to bars, like you select now here bars. Yeah, which is still also okay. You see that we are looking at the domestic sales, which means you can even come here and edit that. The heading, domestic sales per month, because we are just reporting only one continent or only one region. The other one was reporting all the regions. So it becomes up to you. If you want to communicate this, that one becomes domestic. Someone can say, okay, every continent or every region, I'm going to create its own chart. You can also pick it from here. You can select this. The other time I told you that when you do control, you can select the other one by skipping any of them. So if I select the months and Europe and go and pick a column, I will be only showing for Europe. You see, it becomes easy. I can show for Europe, which means I can also go ahead and select for another continent, just alone like Asia, like this. Then I go on insert, I insert another bar, and this one, sorry, I think you should have picked the wrong one. Selecting this and control, we select Asia, then we go on insert and select this one. So you see now this one brings for us only Asia. So you can even have a report where you find that every continent is reported separately. But now still it may not give you the purpose, because if someone wanted to compare, it becomes hard comparing this domestic, comparing you. Hello guys, sorry, I had lost power, but I'm back on. I'll again share my screen. Okay. So you should be looking at my screen again. Let's proceed. So proceeding, what I was saying before we broke off, that when you make them separate, which may be fine, but at the end of the day, if someone is comparing among Asia, Europe, and domestic sales, which one was doing best in this month, it becomes hard for you to compare the three that are independent. So that's why the other first graph we had in the start, that all of them were together like this, sorry. And we'll change this. Now, you see now there is something that has happened, which I want you people to see. You see now that it has interchanged. The axis, which was the legends, now they are the axes. Now the axes will now have changed to legends. You see, before here we had months, now it is continents. The continents were here, now they are months. So when this interchange happens, it is very simple to change back. When you come on chart design, you just come here on switch row and column. So the moment you say switch row and column, it will again switch. as how it was before. So here it becomes easy for you to interpret the graph. Like you can tell which one was higher than the other in a certain month than when they are done separate like this. So I'm going to delete these ones off. So I've given you a challenge here that you can always have it in many ways, but make sure that you're communicating exactly the context of your data or information. I want to compare, then let it be together. Now, someone may be asking me, then what's up with the other types of charts? Here we are going to look still at them. We have already looked at columns, lines, and pie chart. Now, pie chart. When you're dealing with more than 4 items, more than 4, you can always take 4 or 3. Never use a pie chart. But if you are dealing with 2 people, 2 categories, 3 categories, you can always go and use the pie chart. Now in this, I want to bring for you, I can scroll down. I want to bring for you, if you have data for male and you have even data for female. Then here we have cells, let's say. As this side, there are cells, which means male, we have 20 to 30. Then maybe this is, let's say, Jan. Then female, we have 400. Anyway, female, we have 99. Now, when you're dealing with data like this, I can call these cells. When you're dealing with data like this, it becomes easy for you to use a pie chart. How? The moment I select this, I'll go to insert, then you can pick the pie chart from here, or you can pick it from all the other. When you come, they said, now you see that when we come to recommended, they have even recommended a pie chart for me. So you can pick it from here directly, or you can go to all charts, then you go to pie and pick it from here. So we have pie. Now I have already told you that 3D is not good to use. So we always desist from using the 3D. Then there is pie for pie, where it picks out the details. Then there is this pie for table, or bar for pie, which picks the details in a table. Then there is what we call a donut chart. These days, a donut chart is more common than even this pie. So when you click on pie and say enter, it will give you the pie chart, which is this. The other details remain the same, the chart elements. You can go ahead and put all the chart labels. You see, they have been inserted. You can even come ahead here and either put them outside, or put them inside, or put them in the center, or do a call out. A call out is like they go outside with a call out like this. Let me show you. So if I pull this and put it like I said, like this, you see, this becomes a call out. So you can go and have, you can have such data and it makes a call out like that. So when I click on this call out, you can go ahead and do the other options, move it, do this and this. All that bit, it is all about how you want it to be. So you can go ahead and edit all those things and how it is going to pick. So here it already gives me even the percentage automatically, because it has already calculated the percentage. It gives in percentage, that is female 30% and male 70%. I showed you how we calculate for percentage. Let's say if the total here is equal to this plus this one. So the total we get that, which means if I'm to get the percentage here, we are just trying to remember what we did last time. So if I'm to get the percentage here, it means here it will be equal to this one divided by the total. What I get is that. So the moment I click on that and click on percentage, it will automatically give me 70%. So when you do the same here, this one is equal to this divided by this one. No. Okay, here, this. So when you enter and this, change it to percentage, it will change automatically. So the moment I change this number, we shall see even our chart changes automatically. If it was dynamic, like now they have told you that men have increased to 270. The moment I enter, even you see my chart changes automatically. If they tell me that either when female, they were supposed to be 20, we counted wrongly. So the moment you change, you see it changes. But now the challenge comes that these callouts that you designed separately, they remain constant from where you had designed them. So that's why it is always good not to do an extension of designing them, because the moment you do the designing and anything changes, they don't appear as automatic as they are supposed to appear. So the moment you leave like that and don't tamper with it, the moment you do a change here, like you take this back to 120, you see they will be moving dynamically with the chart. So that is it already. It is telling us this is male and orange, red is female. So which means when I'm share this, I don't need to share with the data. Someone else may say, why are we not having the data table here as how we had on the top here? You remember with the pie chart, sorry, with the bar, here we had to insert a data table like this. But with the pie chart, you don't have such a kind. Why? Because its data is always minimal. You don't need to share it with the data. So when you are dealing with small things like this, you can always go for a pie chart. So I can even change this one into, I can change this one into donut. You can always come on like change chart, then you come here on change type. So you can always find it here, or you go back to insert, you come and select now the one you want, the newly one. I can change to donut and say okay. And this will automatically change to donut chart and give you your numbers as how you need them. So I think that is it. I don't know whether you guys have questions. I need questions. If there is anything you don't pick right. Now, I will send you the notes to read through in details to understand such, but it is all about practicing. Okay, let's have another option of having a chart. Let's say if you had this data like this for only that month. That's why I'm telling you that when we have the whole of this and want to put it on a chart, you can imagine, you see now what you're getting. It is not picking to you exactly what you're meant to get. It is only showing you months and their totals, but it is not giving you the continents, the way how they are broken down. So that one becomes now null. We can't use a pie chart for the whole of that data. So let me say if we have this data only. Someone has joined, please mute. And if I call these my cells, and my cells, I'm portioning this per region, which means when I select this and go to insert, go to pie chart and select a pie chart. Better now, because the pie chart that they will give me, I have the continents here, which are those colors, the breakdown. Then the numbers, it is the size of the portion. So, which means if I say insert data labels, they will be inserted like so. So if I do call out, and they will all be, it will show you that this is Europe 38%, this is Latin 14%. So even if I didn't calculate the percentage, pie chart will always calculate for me the percentages. So that's how beauty it is. You can, when you come here to change chart type, it will always take you automatically the other side. So when I click on that donut, it will give me the donut. So you can even come here, you change the formats. You'll have always a lot of styles here you can change to, you get? So you can always go there, look for the best you can go for. But always the default one is always the best. Okay. Now I will need questions. You people, you can send in questions. Here I told you can change the colors. That one I showed you the other time. So you see when I change the theme here, it changes the color. When you want to use one color, but the thickness to be the bigger or the smaller, it is all up to you. But this one confuses. That's why we always have the colorful theme. Any question, guys? If there is no question, then I will proceed. Okay. So we move to another type of chart. Sorry. We move to another type of chart that is, I will first click in some data here, then go to insert. We select our data again, then we go to insert, all charts. So we have talked about columns, line charts, pie charts, bar charts. There is area chart. So what would have been a line chart, you can convert it into an area chart, but somehow always tricky. So if I select this again, I will copy this, take it below. So if we want to create an area chart, so you'll come and select here, area chart like this, then okay. Now, this is an area chart. I know you have seen graphs like this. This one shades off the bottom area and it shows you the maximum where the trend or the line is passing. So if I insert data labels and I put the data labels either on top or call out or something like that. So these are the data labels. You can even change their color by clicking on them. You go to home. I already showed you that, how you can do this. You can do all those dynamics to make sure that it is presentable. So that's what we call an area chart. It is nearly the same as an area line chart, but this one shades out the area. The purpose is to make sure that you easily see the portions covered. Imagine, you know, when we used to calculate the area of the trapezium, the area of the rectangle. So if you're dealing with data where you need to look at the largest portion of the shade, this one becomes the best option, which means if I go ahead and put the line drops here, lines, then drop lines, it becomes easy now to see where every portion ends. And you can easily tell that this portion is higher than this, which means if you're monitoring the increase from Jan to Feb, you can say, oh, it is this one. Then the increase from May to June is more than the increase from Jan to Feb. That can be, if you need to do that, then you go for the area chart. So there are many types of charts, which I may not exhaust all, but I will ask you to go ahead and do an extensive reading. But what we have looked at, they are the measures we are supposed to use in our daily basis. Then there are those charts. There is a funnel. A funnel also looks like the same as how we have seen the others. So if I selected the funnel, this is the way it looks like. Then there is the waterfall. This one, it always captures increase and decreases. If you are dealing with income statements, where we have, let me show you something. We are going to create data for ourselves. I show you how a chart looks like. So let's say here we have a month. We have months here, and we have Jan, Feb, March, April, and May last maybe. Then here we have income, and we have expenses here. I know you're dealing with such transaction, which means the income will always be a positive, which means in Jan, I earned maybe this. Then in Feb, this was a negative. But at the end of that, anyway, in the expense here, I will put maybe 34. Here we earned 235, then we used 390. Anyway, I can go ahead and have this one done random. Then we can have the expenses here. like expenses that, then here we spend a lot, and here we spend 30. Now, what are the profits? So I just want to understand you to understand how we get some of the charts. So here the profits will always be income minus what you have spent. As simple as that. So you'll find that some of them here are negatives. So, and my total here is equal to, you do the sum. We have already seen how we do this tab, then you add here like this. So which means at the end of the day, total, at the end of the day, this is what I get as my final. Like in May, I'm counting my profits. I have only 19 shillings or 19 cents or dollars or any millions or anything. But this is how I've been operating, spending and incomes coming through. Now, if I'm to make a waterfall gives you what has been dropping and what has been increasing. And at the end of the day, you get out whether you're working, you're in business, or so when I select all these, when I select my months and the total, then I select my profits, then you can always come here. So the moment you go to recommended charts, they will give you this chart. You see which shows variance. Then let's go to all charts and we look at the waterfall chart. So when you look at the waterfall chart, which is this, when I click on that and say okay, they will give me this chart. But this chart speaks a lot. It shows that when I come here, right click, select that. Anyway, now this chart shows us that in January we had 200. Here we reduced by 155. That's why it is in the red. So Excel already shows you that the red, we are putting it in any loss you make, we are putting it in red. Any gain you make, you're putting it in blue. So you can go ahead and change these colors by right-clicking and you say, no, this one, I'll want the field to be in green because, sorry, undo. Anyway, for now, when you double click on this, there is a field I told you, an option dialog I told you that always comes on the right, then I will explain later. When you come to this box, that's where we also have the other options we have been looking at. But when you come to the fill color, you can always choose the colors to use. You can always even choose the border colors to use. All those bits, we have them there. So the moment I select this, it will have to change to some other color. You can do it from the other end. Here, I've already shown you how you can change the styles depending on how you feel this one will be better in the eyes of the people I'm going to present to. Then you can choose the color, the themes still from this side, depending on how you want it to be. I can take it back to the default. So, guys, I don't want to go very far. Maybe the other things we shall do them in another session. I think I will ask you to unmute and ask me any question, but I'm going to ask you to use the data you have to practice these charts. It is something that is essential. We are going to do another session about charts. The next time we come, we are going to look at how you do beautify these charts the more, like if you do targets versus actuals, something like that. But for now, that is the basic of charts and graphs and what you have to know when you are selecting a chart or a graph. Any question, guys? We only have 8 minutes to make it to 4. It means we shall have gone 1 hour and a half, of which we don't have to exceed more than an hour. Depending on that you're on duty, you have to do some other things, and you have to organize your day ending, because it is already 4, then by 5, I know people will be leaving work. So I will end my share, then I'll stop my sharing. Then I will ask you people to unmute and ask me any question. I will be waiting. Hello. Hello.